Hey guys, I'm Ethan Godfrey. Today, we're diving into a topic that'll blow your mind. The Ice Age. But not like those boring documentaries. We're going deep into the real story. We're going back 300,000 years to a time when our ancestors, Homo sapiens, were fighting a life-or-death battle against freezing cold, hunger, basically against nature itself. Are you ready? Then buckle up, because this ride is going to be bumpy. Now, this planet we call Earth has gone through 5 major ice ages in its 4.6 billion year history. No joke, 5. We're technically still in the last one, but we're in what's called an interglacial period, a warm spell between glacial periods. So, we're good for now. But the real Ice Age, the one that started 115,000 years ago and lasted about 100,000 years, that was a whole different story. Back then, the world wasn't what you think it was. It was all white, ice, snow, everywhere. You know what the average temperature was back then? Only 7 degrees Celsius, or 44.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Imagine North America, Europe, Asia, all covered in miles-thick ice. And rain? Forget about it. Drought, cold. How did people even survive, right? Well, that's exactly what our ancestors did. They survived. Vegetation, mostly steppes, grasslands, deserts, you name it, but it was all cold. So, how did these Homo sapiens, us, survive in this hell? That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. Migration routes, hunting tactics, shelter, clothing, technology. We'll cover it all. And we'll see how important communication was back then. Then, we'll talk about how the Ice Age ended, how the climate changed. But wait, there's more. This video isn't just about the Ice Age. We're also going to take a trip to Antarctica. What's under all that ice? Lost civilizations? Hidden secrets? Aliens? Minds are racing, but we'll try to shed some light on it all. Now, living in the Ice Age was like the first season of Survivor. You had to be constantly on the move, because where the animals went, you went. Especially the mammoths, the most popular meal of the time. As the population grew, so did the competition for food. So some people were forced to migrate north, to emptier lands. They went across the Bering Strait and all the way to America. Imagine, back then there were no ships, no planes, just walking. To protect themselves from the cold, they took shelter in caves. But there aren't caves everywhere. In the tundras, on flat plains, what would they do? That's where creativity comes in. They built houses out of mammoth bones and hides. They found 15,000-year-old huts made of mammoth bones in Ukraine. Can you believe it? Those guys were practically architects. Hunting, that was another story. You're hunting mammoths, bisons, but these are huge animals. You can't just take them down with a spear. You have to develop tactics. They set traps. They pushed animals off cliffs. It was all about brains, and most importantly, cooperation. You can't hunt a mammoth alone, but with a team, you can do anything. Clothes were super important too. They invented the needle. They sewed animal hides. They dressed in layers, or else you'd freeze. Not just to survive, but also to look good, I think. After all, that was the fashion of the time. They also learned to make fire. What does fire mean? It means warmth. It means cooking. It means protection from predators. They carried fire with tinder fungus and used animal fat to keep the flame alive. When they were out in the open, they made tents from animal hides. Or they dug holes in the ground. They covered the holes with hides. They put hot stones heated from the fire on the ground, to protect themselves from the cold. So, as you can see, our ancestors were basically survival masters in the Ice Age. A constant struggle, a constant adaptation. But they didn't give up. They didn't give in. Now, you can't survive the Ice Age with just muscle power. You also need brains. You need communication. That's what set Homo sapiens apart from the others. Those guys talked, understood each other, made plans. They drew pictures on cave walls. What are these pictures? The information of that time. Which animal migrates when, what the weather will be like. It's all recorded. Me, fire, ash. Even these words date back to that time. Imagine, language is just starting to develop. Communication made a huge difference, especially when hunting. Neanderthals, for example, they mostly hunted up close. But Homo sapiens hunted from a distance with spears. They made plans. They cut off the animals' escape routes. They used fire to direct them. It was a real team effort. Not just in hunting, but in building houses, sewing clothes, carrying fire. Cooperation was essential in everything. When different groups met, they also exchanged information. There's an animal over there. If you go that way, it'll be easier to hunt. And so on. That's how culture is passed on too. Each generation learns from the previous one, improves. Technology, hunting methods, shelter. It all develops thanks to this. Without communication, humanity wouldn't be where it is today. 12,000 years ago, suddenly, everything changes. The Ice Age ends, the weather warms up. Ice melts, seas rise. Houses on the coasts are flooded. People are forced to migrate. Tundras, grasslands shrink. Forests, swamps grow. Mammoths can't find food. Their species become extinct. There are mammoth graveyards everywhere in Siberia, Alaska. It's like they committed mass suicide. People are forced to try new things. Agriculture begins in a place called the Fertile Crescent. People start farming, settling down. Villages are built. Göbekli Tepe, Çatalhöyük. These sites in modern Turkey were literally the coolest places of that time. The Black Sea was a lake back then. But when the seas rose, the waters of the Mediterranean Sea flowed through the Bosphorus and into the Black Sea. The lake became a sea. So you see, the end of the Ice Age was a brand new beginning for the world, for people too. Agriculture begins, civilizations are established. But of course, new problems arise. Climate change, resource use, these will always continue. And now, let's talk about Antarctica. The Ice Age ended, but Antarctica is still ice. And what's under all that ice? Antarctica is the most mysterious place in the world. Nobody knows exactly what's going on. Countries are also trying to keep it a secret. Why? Maybe there are things we're not supposed to know. There have been a lot of stories about Antarctica since ancient times. The Greek scholar Ptolemy said, "There must be a large landmass in the south." Piri Reis drew a map showing Antarctica without ice, but it was later understood that it was South America. Orontius Phineas's map is also very strange. It shows Antarctica very similar to its current iceless state. Then a professor named Charles Hapgood came along and said, there was an advanced civilization before the Ice Age. They lived in Antarctica. He even said that the continents shifted. Nobody believed him at the time, but then this was proven with the theory of plate tectonics. The Nazis also went to Antarctica. They did research. It said they were looking for Atlantis, but their real goal was to find resources for the war. The Americans also carried out a thing called Operation High Jump after World War II under the command of Admiral Byrd. Supposedly, they were going to test cold weather technologies, do scientific research. but some say that their real goal was to make contact with aliens living under the ice. It's said that Admiral Byrd wrote such things in his diary, but it turned out to be false. Then, in 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was signed. Entry and exit to the continent were banned. Military activities were stopped. Now 56 countries can do research there. But going to the center of the continent is still forbidden. You can't fly a plane either. The weather is very dangerous, and it's also a magnetic pole. There are also a lot of strange photos on the internet. Rocks that look like spaceships, mountains like pyramids. Most of them are natural formations, but you still wonder, is there really something under the ice? Scientists say no, but who knows? So there you have it, folks. We've taken a quick trip to Antarctica. As you can see, this continent is not just ice and snow. Deep secrets, legends, unsolved mysteries. It's all here. Maybe one day the ice will melt and everything will be revealed. Maybe we'll see under the ice with new technologies. But for now, Antarctica remains a mystery. And what's the most important thing, you know? To be curious, to research, to learn. What do you think about this? What's under the ice? I would love to hear your ideas. Please write them in the comments. Let's discuss it together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Until then, take care.